I first noticed the tension when the community meeting began. The room buzzed with energy, but there was a cold distance between members of us and the Panthers. Their conversations were clipped, filled with sharp undertones. I stood in the back, unsure whether to feel excited or worried. Karenga took the stage that evening, his voice calm but commanding. He spoke about unity and self-determination, yet there was a faint edge to his tone, a subtle accusation aimed at anyone not fully aligned with his vision. The Panthers in the crowd exchanged glances. A Panther representative, tall and poised, responded during the Q&A. His words were sharp, his critique pointed at Karenga's leadership style. The air grew heavy as murmurs of discontent rippled through the crowd. After the meeting, I saw both groups linger outside. This could have been a moment for solidarity, but instead, I overheard hushed arguments. Each group seemed to move further into their own corners, mistrust building like a storm cloud. Days later, rumors began to circulate, stories of betrayal, whispered accusations of infiltration. I heard these in coffee shops and community centers. Both groups accused the other of working with the FBI, and no one could determine the truth. I attended a community workshop, hoping to see collaboration. Instead, I saw division. Members of us sat on one side, Panthers on the other, their silence louder than words. I felt the gap between them grow wider. The police presence was constant, and it only exacerbated the tension. They would appear at Panther rallies and U.S. events, taking notes and watching. It was clear they wanted to exploit the division. I heard from friends that both groups received anonymous threats. Some blamed the police, others pointed fingers within the community. Trust eroded further, and fear began to take hold. At another meeting, a heated argument erupted. Panthers accused Karenga of seeking power for personal gain, while members of us fired back, claiming the Panthers were reckless and endangering the movement. I left feeling uneasy. For a brief moment, there was talk of a joint event. It seemed like a chance for reconciliation, but the plans fell apart quickly. Neither side trusted the other enough to commit fully. I started hearing whispers about COINTELPRO, an FBI program sowing discord in black liberation groups. Flyers appeared, accusing leaders from both sides of being informants. The seeds of paranoia were carefully planted. At a rally, a Panther publicly accused a member of us of betrayal. The crowd gasped, and I watched Karenga's supporters close ranks. The line between them hardened that day. Both groups began to experience internal fractures. Members questioned their leaders, and some left altogether. I heard stories of loyalty tests, creating more paranoia. Tensions came to a head over control of UCLA's Black Studies program. Both groups wanted influence, and the battle for leadership became a proxy war for their ideological differences. I could see the stakes escalating. I attended a meeting at UCLA where Panthers and U.S. members confronted each other. What started as a discussion quickly turned into shouting. People were pushed, chairs were overturned. It was a warning sign. A friend told me Karenga held private meetings to discuss the growing threat of the Panthers. His language was no longer about collaboration but self-defense. It felt like the air was thick with inevitability. The Panthers began increasing their patrols around the community, visibly armed and ready. While their presence was meant to protect, it also heightened the tension with U.S. members, who viewed it as a provocation. I saw a group of Panthers and U.S. members cross paths on a busy street. Words were exchanged, threats thinly veiled as warnings. I walked away quickly, feeling the weight of what might come. The day of the UCLA Black Studies program meeting, the atmosphere was electric but tense. Both groups arrived in large numbers, and I could see that no one trusted the other. A Panther leader gave a fiery speech, accusing Karenga of sabotaging the movement. Members of us shouted back. The energy in the room became chaotic, and I knew something bad was brewing. The Panthers left the meeting abruptly, their departure marked by angry glares and whispered threats. I overheard someone say, "This isn't over." That evening I saw police cars circling the area, their presence almost mocking. It felt as though they were waiting for something to happen, and they wouldn't intervene unless it served their purpose. The next day, news spread of a confrontation. I wasn't there, but the details were chilling. Shots were fired, and lives were lost. The community was left stunned, caught in the crossfire of its own divisions. I stood outside the scene, watching the police cordon off the area. The community was silent, its leaders divided, its people mourning. What had been a movement for liberation now felt fractured beyond repair. As I walked home, I thought about the forces that had led us here. Ego, distrust, the manipulations of outside powers. I wondered if we would ever find a way to heal, or if the scars of this violence would mark us forever.